This is Ingleside Reviews, Innovators Unveiled. And now your host, A.D. Edwards.
If you ever wondered how to turn a personal legacy into a powerful brand, or how to build a business that gives back while it grows, this episode is your blueprint. Today, you'll hear how Debbie Medina-Gach transformed a family tequila recipe into Señor Rio, a nationally recognized brand with purpose at its core. You'll walk away with lessons on resilience, legacy building, and how to create something that outlives you. So let's dive in. Debbie, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. It's such an honor to be here and very nice to meet you. So I appreciate this opportunity.
Yes. So you have a very interesting story here, and we're going to get into it. I want to start with an origin story about where you began. So can you take us back to the beginning? How did Senor Rio Tequila come to life? I hope you like the way I wrote
I
that
do.
R too.
I think you're doing a fabulous job. Yes. So Señor Rio is a brand born out of family. And I'll kind of dial back a little bit. So I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My parents split when I was young. It happens. And I didn't see my dad. And then I moved to Arizona because, just don't want to be in the blizzards and the cold weather. And I've embraced the desert. So I get a call from my dad, who I hadn't seen in 30 years. And it was just a distant voice on the phone. And he wanted to see me. He's living in Mexico. And at the time, my boyfriend Jonathan and I were getting pretty close. And I said to John, I get this call from my dad and I'm not sure I want to go. I'm kind of on the fence. And he encouraged me. He said, I lost my dad when I was young. Maybe you should go. Maybe he's sick. And I said, well, do you want to come with me? So we traveled to Mexico to see my dad. No expectations, just a father-daughter reunion. We're almost like strangers till we sat at the kitchen table and he brought out a bottle of tequila, no label, very simple, and starts pouring it. He says, "Get his tequila." Yes, okay, we want tequila. We're in Mexico. And as he poured, we sipped. And believe it or not, tequila kind of broke the ice and we started to talk. And he explained how he was making this tequila. It was just a family recipe, went back 3 generations, and never had the means or desire to bring it to the marketplace. We listened to his stories about how this was passed on. And then the next day, when we woke up without a headache or hangover after consuming an entire bottle, we had this crazy idea and thought, what if? What if we could follow this process and bring it to the marketplace? And that was some time ago. That was 2006.
Now, Debbie, you didn't have any background in the spirits industry. What gave you the courage to just jump in like that?
Oh, I don't know, maybe a little bit of crazy. I strongly believe in fate, and I do have a very powerful faith. Have kind of been an entrepreneur, being in real estate. I would out there showing properties, selling homes, and I mean, to me, sales and connections are just relationships. And John had background in accounting, so my real estate sales background and his accounting background, it was creating a business. And so we just took this big leap of faith and thought maybe we could do it. And we strongly believed in what we had. We had a tequila that was all natural. And at that time, there were not a lot of tequilas on the market. And then we dedicated it to my father, his nickname, Señor Rio, which means Mr. River, stemming from my maiden name, Rivera. So we gave the tequila an identity and we put our heart, our soul, and all our cash into it.
Interesting. Now, I try to do as much research as possible on our guests. And so, your boyfriend at the time when you went to go visit your father was John, I take it?
Yes. And later became my
Now,
husband.
okay, so he's passed away since then, correct?
Yes, he'd be here on this interview too, but unfortunately, God had other plans. And,
Yes.
I strongly believe that he writes our book and we have chapters coming. And John was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer just as the tequila was really starting to take off. And it really changed our path, and it was like a stop sign came before us. And I believe he is looking down and he's in my heart. Um, but at the same time, yes, we created Señor Rio together. It was our love child, we called it.
Yes. And the reason I bring that up, Debbie, is because death is a life event. You know, you have marriage, you have the birth of a child. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, we have things that happen in our life that may derail us from our goal and may stop us. But somehow this life event came, unfortunately, but you continued on with the establishment of something that you all did together. What role did John play in building Senor Rio uh, when you all first started, and how does his legacy live on today?
Well, he and I were equal partners. So we are the co founders of the brand through our corporation, Jalisco International Imports. And John played so many roles in helping to build the brand, but we did mostly everything together. Although he did, the licensing, the trademarking, all of the paperwork that was needed because he knew how to do that with his accounting background. And together we went out as door to door salespeople when we were self distributing. So we both put so much effort into building this brand one bottle at a time. You know, I can't say, who did what exactly together. We just would have what we called our, executive meetings and say, all right, so, we're going to do this today. We're going to do this tomorrow. This is our plan. This is our forecast. But yes, he and I, we did it together. I don't think I could have done it without him.
Yes, that's interesting to hear. Now, when he did pass, of course, work still had to be done. Things had to still be accomplished, and you seem as if you really took on the reins and started doing a lot more than you were doing when he was around. Of course, here's the question I want to know about your father's homemade tequila recipe. How did your father's because you said you had no hangover. You said that's what sold you. You said the next day it's like you drink an entire bottle, no hangover. Now, his recipe um had to influence you all when you started the company, the flavor profile of Senor Rio. Talk to us about that.
Well, everything starts with the farming. And what he said was to, keep the agaves in the earth 8 to 10 years, but if we can, 12 years. The longer the plant is in the earth, the better the sugar content. So there you don't have to add anything to mask the bitterness that you get out if you pull the plant out sooner, which is what a lot of mass produced tequilas do today. That's why everything is about additive free. But what he said, by keeping it in the earth that long, even the yeast will come from the honey of the plant. And so we thought, okay, we've got to find a distillery that would work with our process because he had very small still. He had, like I said, no means or desire to do this. So we thought we have to find a place they could. And we visited many distilleries and they basically just wanted to sell us what they had. This is what we have. This is the price. We can bottle it. And it was like, no, no, no. This is how we want it. So all the agaves are from one single estate, which is very important. In the earth, 8 to 12 years. Proper sugar content. So therefore, we don't have to add anything to hide a bitterness that might come. And then it's double distilled to keep the true essence of the agave. And then it's also roasted. A lot of tequilas will steam the agaves, which you lose the flavor. By roasting, you're getting all that beautiful essence of the agave. And then the barrels that we age in are cognac barrels from France. So you get this cognac that sifts through almost like a kiss of cognac. And then it's how long we age for. So there's a lot of different methods in our production to give out the highest quality of the tequila that we produce under this recipe.
Interesting. That's a lot to it. Um, what state was your father in when you all did all this production? The reason I'm asking because I was able to take a trip to Mexico and I went to a Mezcal distillery in Oaxaca.
Mm,
So I'm wondering what part of Mexico were you in?
Jalisco. Now, Jalisco
Jalisco.
is where about 90% of the tequilas come from. And there's the highlands and the lowlands. And in the lowlands, you have this volcanic soil, which is this really rich red clay earth. So it gives the agave a little bit of the minerals from the earth, almost like a pepper or a spice that can be detected. And that's where we grow our
Really
agaves in the lowlands of Jalisco in the town of Tequila.
interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So now the company's up and running. Let's talk about some of the entrepreneurial challenges you had. What's been the toughest part of launching and growing a tequila brand from scratch, in your opinion?
Well, a lot of the brands that are out there, and this is an ultra premium tequila. What that means is it's a top shelf. So you're going to pay a higher price because of the quality. And so when people think of top shelf tequilas, these big national brands come to mind, but they spend so much on marketing, could be $60 million a year. Well, we didn't have deep pockets like that. So I think that, what we found is that it is a competitive market, but fortunately, because we would be out there doing samplings and talking to customers and building the brand through what I call blood, sweat, and tears, it was through our taste and presentation that people would gravitate to the brand. So just building a loyal base took time. Now, the brand has been out now 16 years. We launched it in 2009. Actually, Cinco de Mayo is when we filled our bottles at the distillery and then started hand selling them to establishments in Arizona in May of 2009. So fast forward now, here I am 16 years later. And what I'll say is, yeah, it's a boutique brand, it's artisanal, it's small batch, and we grow just one bottle at a time. So you're not going to, find us up there with these big names that are out there. But at the same time, if it weren't good tequila, I think we'd be out of business. So it's good tequila and we've been around this long. Yes.
I would agree. 16 years. Standing the test of time. How did you get your first major retailer deal? And what did it teach you about business negotiations?
Well, when we were self-distributing, he would have his suitcase of 3 bottles because that's all we had was the Blanco Reposado and Añejo, and I had my 3 bottles. And we go off into, restaurants and bars and liquor stores and country clubs and strip clubs and, grocery stores and everywhere, just saying, "Hey, who does your ordering? We've got something to show you." And we opened up accounts, and then eventually we did get a distributor. But one account that was our big account, Total Wine and More. Total Wine and More is known for having, I mean, the biggest selection of wines and spirits and beers. And I mean, they're all over now. It's two brothers that started the company back east, and it's like I call it Toys R Us for adults. Um, and
Yes,
so,
I agree.
yeah, it's just a wonderful
We
store.
have that here in
Yeah, there's
Houston.
many of them in Houston, and I've visited them, and I'll be back again. But when we opened, that account in Arizona, it was new to Arizona at the time, and they said, "We can't buy from you directly. You have to go through our corporate headquarters, and they're based out of Maryland, and you need to send the bottles there, and then they have to decide if they want to take it on." And so, anyway, we did. We sent the bottles. We crossed our fingers, hope for the best, and yes, they agreed to take us on as a national brand. But over time,
Excellent.
they have a program which is a Spirits Direct program where they work with small producers. And then this way, they take your brand under their wing and put it in all their stores nationwide. But then you don't have it anywhere else. So Total Wine and More
Oh,
is the only
so it's
place.
exclusive. It's
Yes.
exclusive
Yes.
deal.
So Total Wine and
Okay.
More stores nationwide is where you can buy Señor Rio Tequila. You can't find it anywhere else. So it's been a great relationship, but it's just, retail chain. And I'm always traveling to the different stores and meeting with the employees and doing staff trainings and tastings and getting everybody familiar with the brand. And the nice thing is, some of the stores have the ability to allow you to sample. So you can walk in, and in Texas is one of them. You can walk in a Total Wine in Texas and say, "Hey, I'd like to try Senor Rio." And they should have some bottles open that you can do a little sampling and taste before you buy.
Excellent. Here's a question I wonder. What is it like being a woman of color navigating the male-dominated spirits industry?
So, some people go, you got to have a thick skin. I said, well, you got to have a lot of patience. Um, I think we all deserve a seat at the table. And it's just, knowing if something is a no, think of it as it's just not now. It's okay. We can look at that later. And,
Okay.
and to me, if you believe in what you have, you can just continue. I mean, I've never been pushy, but at the same time, it's such a good brand and it's a fine tequila and the story behind it, it's not one that's born out of, a boardroom or just one that's celebrity owned or endorsed. We do have a celebrity now that is co-owner and I can go into how I met my business partner, Mr. Joe Mantegna, but again, it's a tequila born out of family, born out of love. And so it's just letting them know it's okay. We're not up there with the big brands yet, but all in time. Yes.
Excellent. So how do you manage your dual role? Because you also have a non profit that you founded. So you're business owner and non-profit founder. How do you manage those dual roles?
Well, we became a tequila with a cause when we first launched because so many nonprofits would reach out and say, hey, we're doing a fundraiser or we're having this event. Would you donate? And we did. John and I were all about giving back. We felt, what, if it's a cause we believe in, we will help. But then during COVID, when we're all kind of stuck at home, I had this idea to start a nonprofit rather than just support so many. And I mean, there's so many great, great causes out there, but the one that really speaks to my heart is helping families that have children with special needs. I have 7 grandchildren, and 2 of them are identical twin girls, Catalina and Claudia, 9 years old, and they were diagnosed with Angelman syndrome. And at first it was where they said it's cerebral palsy, but then later it was Angelman, which is a very rare disorder. Only 1 in 15,000 children have it. And it's where they're going to need lifelong care. They're at a ability of a 2-year old because it's neurological. So you have to help feed and dress and bathe. And they're nonverbal. One is walking by the grace of God. The other one's in a wheelchair. But anyway, I saw the challenges that my daughter and son-in-law faced in raising Catalina and Claudia and thought, that's it. I need to help these families. And so We Care Crusade was born. And that is a foundation that gives back based on the tequila bottles sold. So every tequila bottle that we sell, $1 goes into We Care Crusade. And as I say, we put tequila smiles out there while you're helping us put the smiles on the faces that really need it. So We Care Crusade is a foundation where we contact families that are nominated, send the checks out, and the stories and the thank yous that we receive, there's no word for the gratitude that I feel that we're able to do this and be a tequila with a cause. So that's what I have to say. I get up for every morning. I mean, yes, the tequila is
Mhm.
important, but at the same time, We Care Crusade is not equally, but more important. And that's why
Yes,
I
definitely.
want to create awareness for that because there's so many families in need. And you can go to the website, wecarecrusade.org, and nominate families or reach out to us. So just 2 months ago, I authored my first book called One Bottle at a Time, A True Love Story, 50 Tequila Craft Cocktails. And so now a portion of the sales of that book will go into We Care Crusade as well. And the book is the story behind the bottle. So if you want to come along,
Do you have a copy of the book with you
oh,
now?
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hold it up
Here we go.
for those who are viewers on YouTube?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Nice.
It's a
Yes, see it. Nice,
hardcover
nice.
book, 213 pages, and each story um, that's told has a cocktail woven into it. So they're beautiful cocktail recipes done by a master mixologist here in Tucson, Arizona. And you really kind of take a back seat along with us and come along on this journey from the very beginning to where we are now. So it's kind of scary because you're reading my diary in a sense, but you're getting a feel of, the brand and what we went through. in starting it, and the ups and downs and the messy parts and the roller coaster ride, and then also in John's passing, and then starting We Care Crusade, and then how I met Joe Mantegna and moving forward. So it's a book that tells the story, yes, with cocktails.
Excellent. Well, that's good because vulnerability is authenticity. So we get to know the true you and the things that you went through. Now we know that you're successful, been around 16 years, but it wasn't always up and up. I'm sure you had some tough times.
Oh,
So
yes.
when things got tough, what kept you going?
Well, just believing in what we had, truly. I mean, I put it out there. I mean, I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and, selling jewelry that I had. You do what you have to survive and, keep the lights on, pay
Okay,
bills while you're building your business because it did take
of
us
course.
almost 5 years to profit. And so I just think what got us up every morning was we can do this and we're not going to give up.
Mhm.
Because there were some times that I might have felt like throwing in the towel. Trust me, a lot of business owners have that where you go, oh, this is it. Just can't do it anymore. But something inside says, just keep going. Yeah. Just keep doing it.
Right.
And, there was a song in the 70s called Ain't No Stopping Us Now. It's the old
Yes.
disco song. And so that kind of,
McFadden and Whitehead, I believe it
yeah,
was.
yeah, it kind of became our theme song. I would play that song and be like, "Mm, ain't no stopping us now. Keep on going."
Right.
And, even
That's
after
beautiful.
Jonathan's passing, people said to me, "So, Deb, what are you going to do now? You're going to go back to real estate? You're still going to keep doing this tequila thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, this was our baby. We built this. I'm going to just keep
Excellent.
on going." And, I do have help. Can't do it all alone. But at the same time, I felt very strongly about no, no, it's a legacy. It's dedicated to my dad. It's a part of John. And I do love what I do. I mean, this weekend I'll be in the Total Wine and More stores sampling customers. Yeah, because it's Father's Day
Excellent.
weekend. I love talking to people. Just like the Snapple lady. Hey, come on over here. I got something for you to try. You like tequila?
Well, this is great because the Señor Rio brand is a story that has to be told, and it's a deeper message behind the brand. So I want you to get as much exposure as possible. Moving along, how did Joe Montanga get involved with Señor Rio, and what has that partnership meant for you?
Well, first of all, he is just a great human being. And a mutual friend introduced Joe and I. We're both from Chicago. He's a well known actor. I mean, most people know him from David Rossi on Criminal Minds or all the
Yes.
movies he's done, Godfather Part 3, The Rat Pack. I mean, you just Google his name and the list goes on. I think there's like 400 films. And so it was Jack Maxwell, and he's also an actor. He is known for Booze Traveler, which was a wonderful show to watch. You can still see that.
Mhm.
But he introduced Joe and I because he knew that there would be a connection. I had, confided in Jack that I really was looking for a business partner to help grow the brand, but I wanted someone that's a good person that would, get involved, get behind the brand, not just a face. So Joe and I,
Yes.
we had the introduction and we had a meeting and I shared my story. And I think what really got him, he liked the tequila, thank goodness. But he has a
No
daughter.
hangover.
Yeah, he has a daughter with special needs. He has two daughters and they're both beautiful girls. And so he understood the aspect of giving back, especially with children with special needs. So he said, Deb, I believe in you and I love the tequila and what it stands for. I don't get involved in many things. This is not going to be my day job. It's like, no, no, I'm just listening and as nervous as can be. My hands are sweating. And he says, you have to meet my wife though. I said, yeah, yeah. And I'm thinking, oh, please like me, please like me. And I met his family and they're just such good people. And when Joe comes out to the stores to do these meet and greets and sign bottles and take pictures, his fans line up out the door and it's like they
Mhm.
just want to meet this man and, take a bottle home. So it's done a lot. It's been very instrumental in the brand's growth. But he's still working, he's still filming, and he's so involved with other things. I mean, he does gun stories. He also is involved with veterans, and I mean, he's in the Memorial Day concert that takes place every year in Washington. So he's got a pretty full plate, but he makes time for Senor Rio, which is important because he cares. He's just a good, caring human being. So I call myself blessed. Yes.
Excellent. Now, you mentioned some technical things about how you distill the tequila, how what the land it comes from. You've talked about the message and the what you all stand for. What makes Senor Rio stand apart in a crowded premium tequila market?
A very good question. So what you need to do is what we call a tequila throwdown. And do a
Okay,
blind
okay.
taste testing because each
Like the old Coca-Cola and
yes,
Pepsi
the challenge.
taste
Yeah, I
challenge.
mean each tequila is different in how it's made and where it comes from and the process. But I have to say that, Senor Rio is such a smooth, flavorful tequila. And I mean, is it the best to me? Yes, but there's so many other fine tequilas out there as well. So it's just do a comparison. But again, it does start with the process. It's the harvesting, it's the production and how we do it, it's the aging. So there's a lot that goes into, and I do talk about it in the book where you really get, I call it tequila 101, like education so that you can learn how it's made. I mean, this would be a whole separate podcast if I did the tequila class on just how it's made.
I'm sure.
But it does, I mean, stand up there with the other ones. We have a bottle that's priced over 300, but for the staple, the Blanco Reposado and Añejo, they start in the $50 price point. We do have a coffee tequila called Cafe Elegancia. I'll just show you one of the
Okay.
bottles because it's such a
Please.
unique bottle. Awesome.
Yes.
The stopper is all
Beautiful bottle.
glass, and that's from a photograph of my dad in his younger years, and so that our logo.
Really?
And then what's kinda unique, and I won't tell you, but if you do go to a Total Wine store and you wanna pick up a bottle, take a peek inside the bottle. Behind the label,
Okay.
behind the front label and the back label is a secret message, and it's our message to you. So we also have, I call it the message in the bottle, and people said, "Hey, Deb, is it a different message in every bottle?" No, we're not a fortune cookie. It's the same message and the Blanco
Excellent.
Reposado and the Añejo bottles. So yeah, go and try it out. Father's Day's coming up, so maybe Dad doesn't need another tie. Tequila could be what he's looking for. So yeah, give Señor a try.
So, when you talk about Señor Rio, it's an awesome story. I'm just like I was really intrigued by it when I was preparing for this show for this episode. But you seem like a very principled person, and I'm wondering when you get into the business realm, are there any core values that your team live by or guiding principles and making decisions as far as the company is concerned?
You know, I bring on brand ambassadors, and those are people that go into the store and sample the customers and share what we call the Señor experience. And what I always say to them is just be yourself and have fun. That's it.
Mhm.
Just be yourself and have fun. I mean, it's tequila that we are out there um, telling people about. So it's pretty simple. And in the stores, it's free. So people want to come over and, have a free sample. I say, come on over. I'm doing a complimentary sampling. Now, in some states where we're not allowed to sample, I bring little spray bottles and I let them get the aroma of the tequila and just on the
Really?
scent they'll buy the tequila because it's very fragrant. And you can try that with other tequilas. You can, go ahead and get the nose of it. And if it smells a little strong, chances are it might taste strong. Where with Senor Rio, it's just very aromatic. Even at the distillery, we have a lot of mango trees, and during our fermentation, we keep the tanks open so that the fragrance of the mango will seep in. So you get just a whisper of citrus, and it's most notable on the Blanco. So there's just different nuances that we offer with each expression. So you can taste it or you can get the nose of it.
Okay. Continuing on the business thing, why was it important to make Señor Rio a minority woman-owned brand?
Well, I wanted people to know that, you know, it's a tequila that didn't come from a corporate boardroom and that it's a tequila that's born out of family. So dedicating it to my father, when people say, "Oh yeah, yeah, it's that woman," it was. So I just wanted to get that certification because I have to say when I'm out there in the stores and I say, "Oh, by the way, this is my company. It's woman owned and minority certified," and that gives them another reason to say, "I support you." You know what? That's great
Yes.
because I do support a lot of small businesses myself. I believe in shopping local and shopping women owned businesses because I know being one and minority especially. So, yeah, it's just getting that extra stamp that you can say, oh, by the way,
Mhm.
it's a tequila that's dedicated to family. It's born out of love and go into how we make it. But, oh, yes, it is certified as a minority woman owned company. Yes.
Yes. Talking a little bit more about your non-for-profit, I want to know, you told us about the We Care Crusade
Hmm.
and how it originated. You told us how the proceeds from the tequila helps that nonprofit. What kind of impact has the nonprofit made so far for the lives of special needs families? Can you share or relate any experiences per se
Yes.
of how the nonprofit has helped individual families?
There is a camp called Friendship Circle. That's a wonderful organization, and they accept special needs children. As a matter of fact, it's all special needs. And kids love going to camp over summer, and so we've sponsored kids to be able to go to camp because it's got a high price tag, but at the same time, we want them to go. Or we wait sometimes till it's holiday season and make these phone calls. And when I say, you know what, so and so nominated your family, and I want you to tell me a little bit about your child. And they'll go into when that
Mhm.
child was diagnosed, what they have. And I say, we just want to show that we care and support you. So please give me your mailing address. We're going to put a check in the mail. Now they don't know what they're going to get. So checks go in the mail, and they're usually like 1,000, 1,500, and it's just picking families that we can send this to. And when they get
Yes.
this, they don't expect it. And so when I get the thank you, oh my God, we used the money for an Airbnb and we had a family reunion because we never got to see them. And now, we had a place everybody could come to. Or my son is blind and he loves video games and there's this chair that vibrates and we wanted to just get him this chair that would vibrate to the video game so he could feel like he's in the game. But one woman said, I was going through such a hard time. I had a family member diagnosed with cancer, and I'm caring for my son. And then I took ill. And when you sent this and you called, I said, God sees me. She
Mhm.
felt like we were the angel
Mhm.
coming to her aid. And I mean, I started to cry.
Yes.
So when, you make these calls and you are able to touch these lives individually, I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing and it just makes you feel good.
Yes. That's a beautiful thing because I don't know what it's like. I could only imagine, but I've had friends that were basically full-time caretakers of their parents. And that's people forget about the caretaker.
Yes.
I want to say that's a challenge in
Mm-hmm.
itself. So I could imagine just a little relief, like you said, the Airbnb or just to see family, because you're so consumed
Mm-hmm.
in your day-to-day activities. I'm sure it comes like an answer to a prayer, as you mentioned. So that's beautiful work that you all are doing. I'm really moved by that and impressed as well. Let's talk a little bit about you and your life and where you probably are taking this company in the future. So you've been through loss, you've been through reinvention, and you've been through growth. How has that shaped your leadership style, Debbie?
I'm just grateful every day. I truly am. I think that um, God writes our book, and I'm always looking at new chapters. What can I do? How can I inspire? How can I give back? But at the same time, growing the business. And now the book is something new. And I go on podcasts and do interviews to talk about the book because I want people to know the story because we all have stories. And so even when, I was writing the book, I initially started it when John was going through his chemo and I put the book aside, almost finished it. And 7 years later, after his passing, I decided it was time to share the story, but sharing it in a different way where now it's incorporated with cocktails to make it a nice
Hmm.
cocktail book that people can put on their coffee table. So moving forward, I'm just creating awareness. And also, I want to do more with We Care Crusade. We haven't been able to do galas or events because I've been so busy with the tequila business. But yes, I'd like to create more awareness. Also for Angelman syndrome, there is a foundation, Angelman Syndrome Foundation, and a celebrity, Colin Powell, who's an actor, has a son with Angelman, who's an adult now, and he's doing wonderful things because of the care that the person will need their entire life. So I just want to, I call it make the noise to let people know. I mean, years ago, nobody talked about autism, and now everybody knows about it. And so, Angelman,
Yes.
because there aren't that many families that have a child with it, it was Dr. Angelman in the 1960s that said, "This is not cerebral palsy. This is something different," and gave this diagnosis. And there's still a lot of families that their children are misdiagnosed. So, there's a lot to learn and research. So I just would like to continue to grow the brand and the book so that we can do more with We Care Crusade.
Yes, to be honest with you, um, Angelman syndrome, this is the first time I'm hearing of it, and I'm glad you've made me aware of it personally.
Yeah, you can Google it.
I
And I mean, I'm not a scientist to talk about everything that it entails. That's a whole other podcast. But at the same time, yes, creating awareness.
yes,
Hmm.
creating awareness is very important. What would you tell someone who's standing at the edge of starting something very scary and very new?
Just do it. Do it.
I love that. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
What legacy do you hope to leave through Señor Rio and We Care Crusade?
That's a tough question because I don't think about that. I just want people to always be in the moment, embrace life, and, be kind to one another. It's really a legacy of a tequila with a purpose. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't even know what the
Well,
legacy will be.
I want to help you out with this one, Debbie. I'm hoping that the work you all are doing will bring more awareness to Angelman syndrome. I've never heard of it, but I think this is a good way of spreading the word and supporting it. So that's a good legacy right
Hmm.
there.
Yes.
Now, is there a mantra or a quote that you live by as a businesswoman? Besides just do it?
I've always believed in treat people the way you want to be treated. That's it. Plain
Excellent.
and
The
simple.
golden rule.
Hmm. But
Yes.
Gandhi had a
So,
saying too. There's a quote to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
oh, I like that
Hmm.
one. I like that. That's a good one. What's next for Debbie?
I don't know. God's writing my book.
Okay. Well, tell everyone where they could find your book. Is it Amazon? Is
Yes,
it
yes.
Barnes and Noble? Let the hearers know where they can get this book. I'm gonna also put a link on the YouTube channel so that it can be purchased, but tell them.
Well, if you would like a signed copy with a personal note from me, the website is onebottleatatimebook.com. So you can purchase it there. But if you do get it through Amazon, they do the prime shipping and get it right away. You just have to go to the Amazon site and type in one bottle at a time book, and it should come up. And if you Google one bottle at a time book, and you might have to put a true love story too, there's other places that come up online. But if you want the signed copy with the personal note from me, then you want to go through the website, which you'll put the link to onebottleatatimebook.com. And you can visit Senor Rio, which is the website for the tequila that will link you to We Care Crusade, link you to the book, and that's just senorrio.com. If you do want to reach me on the senorrio.com website, it has contact us through concierge at Senor Rio. And believe it or not, I still answer every email 16 years later.
Excellent. I'm so glad you came on our show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, Debbie Medina-Gach didn't just create a tequila. She bottled a legacy poured from the heart of her heritage and shaped by resilience. Her journey shows us that the most powerful brands don't just sell a product, they tell a story, inspire purpose, and serve a greater good. From reconnecting with her father to building Señor Rio and launching a nonprofit that gives back, Debbie proves that impact and innovation can go hand in hand. So if you're chasing a dream or building something from scratch, let this episode be a reminder to you. The most lasting success starts with what matters most: your values, your story, and your why. Thanks for tuning in to Ingleside Reviews, Innovators Unveiled. And as always, keep innovating, keep creating, and never stop unveiling the innovator in you. Until next time.
See you next time.